So have you ever noticed that the black keys on a piano form a pentatonic scale? If you start on the first block of 3, you get an F sharp. You get that that major pentatonic. You know, that chopsticks thing that people do where they roll their knuckles across. Anyways, it's a pentatonic, which means all the white keys are the accidentals. But if you look at just the white keys by themselves, you know that you get a C major. Or you could argue that it, you know, or any of the modes belonging to C major. So those are pure accidentals against that pentatonic. So you've got a 5-note scale and you've got a 7-note scale. It gives you all 12 tones. And so what I want to do is leverage that negative space, if you, for lack of a better term, negative space meaning all those chromatic notes, to glue together variations of the pentatonic major or minor, because they're related to the. Anyway, so I'm going to use this as an example, and I'm going to map it to a keyboard so that it makes sense. So if F sharp, let's say this is the pentatonic, I want to glue together with C major sounds. Okay? So there's this like tritone away, C major to F sharp. That's a tritone difference. So it's kind of like this polychoral thing where we're basically gonna use the key of C major as the glue for our F sharp major pentatonic, okay? And so it's not important. What's important to remember here is that there's this tritone interval, sort of relating these two together. And actually, they relate in a way where it's, you know, both play the accidentals of each other, which is cool. So how can that be used? First thing I'm going to show you here is what I'm going to try to connect together. So I'm going to try to connect together 5 variations of the major pentatonic, okay? So the first is just the root in the bass. There you go, that's F sharp pentatonic. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, right? Second variation looks like this, right? We're just playing the 2, the 3, the 5, the 6, the 8, right? Third variation is the 3, the 5, the 6, the 8, the 9, the 10, right? The fourth variation would be the 5th, the 6th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, whatever, this would be the 5th. What is that? I guess that would be the 12th. But you can see they're just modes or inversions of the sorry. So I'm just going to play those. That's what I'm trying to glue together. So it's in these spaces where I'm going to use the white keys, if you will, to fill in the gaps. And what I want to do is use a for this example, I'm going to use, you know, a similar like shape built upon each of those modes. Because I'm playing a pentatonic, it's a 5-note scale. I want to pick like, for me, I'm going to pick a 5-note pattern. But you could pick any pattern, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to pick a 5-note pattern. And what I'm going to do is, just to keep like 2 notes per string, I'm going to play like a 9th chords. 9th and 11th chords, you'll see. So that would be my first mapping there. This first half step up happens to be, well, if C is here, this must be the 5th mode. So I'm gonna build a 5-note idea off of that 5th mode, and I'm gonna use a 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 type pattern for my major modes. That's how I'm gonna pull out 5 notes. So this first sequence would look like this. And then I get to the next half step up, which is my second variation of the F sharp pentatonic major. It's that box shape right there. So I always have to kind of keep in mind right now, like, so what is the C major mode that's going to be the glue between, you know, what's my A going to be? Well, I know that A and C, the 6th mode will work here. So for that, I'm going to create another like 5-note pattern to match, okay? So I'm going to use the root, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 7th of that 6th mode to create a 5-note pattern. Why didn't I use the same pattern from the 5th mode? For me, I just want to keep like 2 notes per string. And I want to keep the shape kind of close-ish to the pentatonic sound. So that's what, here's what we have. So now we have the first F sharp pentatonic, and then the 5th mode. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. Okay, then we have the second variation. Now we're at the 6th mode. And then this would be the 3rd variation of F sharp major pentatonic. Right? This is the B. That makes that the B to the C. That makes that a 7th mode. So I'm going to use that same like minor construct I just did. 1, 3, 4, 5. You have a diminished 5th in the Locrian mode. 7, 8. So that's how far, so we've got all the way to B. My next F sharp, so I've got two, this is the first case where we have two, a whole tone step between a minor third step between those pentatonic variations. So I'm actually going to play Locrian, and right beside that I'm going to play the Ionian, or the first mode, C, and I'm going to use that major pattern there, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, right beside it to get to my next F sharp inversion of pentatonic, F sharp pentatonic. So it's going to look like this. So we're just putting those two sequences together. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 to the first mode. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8. And now I'm at this next inversion of the F sharp pentatonic major, which looks like this. So you can see those work together. So all of those modes are filling in the gaps between each of these pentatonic major variations. So I've just made my way up to so after that, if that's the major, then this must be the Dorian, the 2. Right? If that's the Dorian. And then I get to my last inversion of the pentatonic, F sharp pentatonic. And if that's Dorian, then this must be Phrygian. Using the same pattern for all my minor modes, I'm using this 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 pattern. That's just the Phrygian, right? And then we have this other gap between, we have another case where we have, two semitones between. So I'm going to play Phrygian and then Lydian. So there's your Phrygian, Lydian, and then back to our pentatonic major on F sharp. Sorry. So all we're doing is basically superimposing the white keys against the black keys to get all of these chromatic passing arpeggios. And the patterns I've chosen here, these 5-note patterns, is very arbitrary. I could have picked any sequence. I could do this with dyads. I could take the thirds, let's say, of I don't want to complicate that, but just bear in mind it's not important the constructs I use to create the passing arpeggios is what I'll call them. You could put anything in there as long as you construct something, based out of those modes. You could stack fourths. You could. There's a million things you could do. I chose the ones that I did because I wanted to have this sort of like 2 notes per string sort of feel. So that if I want to so it kind of feels like pentatonics, even though they're not technically pentatonics, they're 5-note musical ideas. Anyways, so I hope that explains things. probably the easiest way to kind of walk through this and chart it would be to sit down at a keyboard and just start playing the black keys and then follow with a simple chord on the white keys, you know, the adjacent white keys for every gap you find. And that's ultimately what this is doing. That's all that it's doing. Yeah, and so I think I'll just end with this idea that, you know, if I can use the white keys to glue together the black keys, I can use the black keys to glue together the white keys. And so if you learn this, you have a mechanism for gluing together, like, you know, your major modes. And I'd like to see how that translates to, let's say, like the melodic minor, just to hear what that would do. Anyways, that would be a later development.